Whew. What's going on, awesome people? Welcome to another episode of Countdown to Freedom in Iran. My name is Iman. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. For those of you who are joining Countdown for the very first time and you have no idea what this is, let me tell you. Basically, it's the only English-speaking weekly program dedicated to news and updates about what's happening inside of Iran, and also some really important variable topics, conversations that have to do with mental health, wellness, some poetry, and then also we always have a special guest, somebody that is doing a lot to bring awareness of what's happening in Iran, that's doing a lot to amplify the voices of Iranians, and tonight is no different. Our special guest that's going to be coming at the end of the program is the one and only Yasmine Aker. She's an incredible talent on stage as an artist, as an actor, but she's been incredibly active during this entire revolution, doing so much for the people of Iran. I'll get to her definitely later on. Please be sure to stick around. And I'm also going to be starting a new, if you've been joining the Countdown episodes, you know kind of the structure of all the programs. But tonight, I think I'm going to introduce a little Iman rant, a little Delampore session, which I'll add at the very, very end of the program. So if anybody wants to stick around for that, I'm going to be ranting. I'll tell you later on what it's all about. But other than that, thank you all for joining. I see a lot of familiar faces, from Nikki to Shahla to Mariam. Dade County in the house. My good friend Farhang from DC. We got Mahta from Intrigue Yellow. Of course, we have the lovely ladies that are Sare and we have Paris's mom. Welcome. It's great to have you all here. And hi Mona Jun, how are you? So we got awesome uniters right here. All right, Arijan Durut, what's up, guys? All right, well, let's get started, guys. You guys know that this program is really special because we have always the incredible Paris Mansouri, who's here giving us just the meat and potatoes of what's happening inside of Iran. As you know, there's always so much going on, and she spends all week long shuffling through all the news, verifying, double-checking, doing everything that she can to give you the most trustworthy, factual news possible. And so without any further ado, if you all don't mind, let's bring in Paris and let's get to... We're going to make this all together. Okay, we're going to go through this and we're going to get stronger. Negejun, hello. Yeganajun, hello. How are you?
Hello.
Hi, Paris Jun. How are you? Great to see you. For a second, I
good.
thought you
How
were in the
you?
dark. I'm glad that you came into it. I'm glad you came.
No, I'm here. I'm here. But you know what I noticed is that IG lets you use filters even on lives, and I've never used it. And I'm like
I'd
highly
love
tempted
to have some filter on
considering
my... You don't need it, but I wouldn't mind it for sure.
I'm like, I didn't know this. You see all these people go live and they're like so fresh faced and their skin looks perfect. I'm like, how do they do it? I guess they're that perfect. But no,
Good
you can do filters on IG
I'll be
Live
looking into that for the next episode.
next time.
But other than that, Paris, you okay? I mean, I know you always go through so much to give us all the details. We're on day 166. It's been a tough last 48 hours for sure. I mean, if anyone's been outside of under a rock, the poisoning of the schoolgirls. Please, let's just go ahead and start with this atrocious news.
So the first question, are you okay? I'll be really honest and share that I'm highly emotional. This poisoning of the girls is has gotten to me, and I know I'm supposed to be a reporter and I'm biased, but this really is a lot. Peter's death is a lot. And so like you said, I really do my best. I know we're all in it 24/7, really paying attention to the news, but not only do I see it one side, but it's the frustration, because I always go and look at Islamic regime news outlets, and to hear what they're saying and to get the frustrations, and also to see that the media picks it up. One media news outlets about the school poisonings that we're going to talk about said it's alleged. It's not alleged. It's not fake. Somebody DM me saying, but are we really sure that they're doing this? It's yes, guys, this is happening. This is for real. Anyway, so let's get into this. The poisonings at schools across Iran, it's an attack on female students. It's being actually, some media outlets are calling it correctly, it's biological terrorism. And that's what actually The Guardian over in the UK called it. It's biological acts of terror on individuals, minors in this case. So Iran's deputy education minister, his name is Younes Panahi, he said it was, and I'm quoting, "It was found that some people wanted all schools, especially girls' schools, to be closed." He says, though, these are not war chemicals. The poisoned students do not need aggressive treatment, and a large percentage of the chemical agents used are treatable. So that is the official reaction. An article posted by The Guardian, Dr. Homayun Samaye Najafabadi says that he's actually confirming that the poisoning is happening, and he has said that the poisoning has been intentional in the places that he's seen, Qom and Boroujerd in particular. Some reports are saying that over 30 schools have been targeted, and some sources are saying that it is revenge for taking part in the protests. And again, we're being really careful here because there are different media outlets reporting different things. Out of Iran, they're obviously saying that, it's happening, but, we think it's this. It doesn't seem like there's any corroborated, correct information. There's no exact number of students. I've seen some websites say that it's dozens of students. I've seen some websites say it's hundreds of students. We have to be really careful about, really, especially if we're sharing on social media, just know that the numbers are not absolute. Like, we can't for sure say that it's 12 or 20 or 100. We just know that this is happening, and we just have to be really responsible, especially in the sense that so many, as we have seen in the past, have said that we're calling it basically propaganda and that we're exaggerating. So let's just really share the news. We don't need it to be 1,000 or 100 or 10 for this news to be shocking. This is shocking and unacceptable, and it's happening, and we need to share it. Please don't focus on the numbers, but please focus on this news
and also,
of what is happening.
In line with what's been happening, there's one viral footage going around with this IRG official or something pulling the hair of like one of the moms, which he's being targeted right now. They've like identified him, and the most worst things that I can imagine having been done to a human being, I hope it happens to him. I mean, that video is just heartbreaking, and all it is a mother essentially crying, wanting answers to what happened to their daughter that has been chemically poisoned. It's like it's absolute insanity. So let's go to political news coming from the EU. What's the latest on that end?
So this one's going to be a bit long because I'm going to be talking about basically the Islamic regime and their official, and also some of the foreign opposition. So first up, the Islamic Republic's foreign minister addressed the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva on Monday. So there's an oxymoron for you. There's several delegations that walked out, but those who stayed got to hear him and his speech. They got to listen to him accuse the US and UK media of spreading propaganda and basically turning peaceful protests in Iran into violent acts of terror. So according to him, the protests are violent because American and EU media are inciting Iranians to go out and be violent. He also claimed that there is an ongoing investigation into the protests and into the arrest, and he claimed that protesters have been released, that basically all the people that were arrested have been released.
All 18,000.
Very interesting speech. He didn't confirm the numbers, but he said that the protesters have been released. And then some people may have caught it. There was Iran International behind the scenes. The reporter asked him about the Islamic regime killing protesters and killing minors, and his response was, "No one has been killed." Take that as you wish. Then there was Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi. He was also in Europe. He was in Belgium for an a European Parliament event. He spoke about the Charter of Solidarity and Freedom, which is being worked on with other opposition members. It's actually called Iran's Charter of Solidarity and Freedom. Apparently it's being finalized, and it includes the minimum principles of agreement of the majority of secular democratic forces, which are the individuals that we saw take part in a panel at a news conference a couple of weeks ago. Before Brussels, he was in London. London. He addressed the Oxford Union, the Henry Jackson Society, as well as the House of Commons. And before his speech at the Oxford Union, which was well received, if you see the reception that he received, there was hundreds of Iranians who had basically gathered to receive him. Him and Iranian lawyer and Nobel Peace Prize winner Shirin Ebadi went to visit an Iranian protester. His name is Vahid Beheshti. He has been on a hunger strike outside of the parliament, outside of the House of Commons in London, and he's been protesting to persuade Britain to list the IRGC as a terrorist organization. So if you have a moment to go and spread news about Vahid Beheshti and the important work that he's doing,
go to my next little session right here to respond to BA Books 1111. What can we do in the USA? Any hashtags we could use to help? Paris, we'll get to that shortly. Stick around, we'll get to it. So it seems like we're witnessing a new wave of protests in Iran. What do we know about what's going on the ground?
Yes, so there's worker strikes in several industries. Last Saturday, steel workers were striking and retired steel workers were on strike. As well, Iran, Iraq war veterans were striking. They're not receiving their pension money. And there's also sporadic protests in light of the poisonings at girls' school. And for anyone joining us right now, we talked about the poisoning at girls' schools earlier in this broadcast. It's been, highly publicized, but we have to remember the poisoning at schools is not just happening at girls' schools, it's happening at university levels. We've seen students in dormitories having their water poisoned and their food poisoned at university. There's been campaigns on campuses where students organize bringing their own food. So we have to remember this whole spat of poisonings. It's not new. It's targeting girls' school right now, but Iranian students at all levels have been terrorized for a long, long time, and we can't forget that.
Next, we're going to go to a topic that almost everybody was sharing yesterday, 2 days ago, a source of national pride, Piruz. It hit us hard. For anyone who missed it, can you please fill us in on Piruz?
Yes. So first of all, Piruz, he was among Iran's endangered Asiatic cheetahs. He's a cub. It's a subspecies only found in Iran. He died of kidney failure at a veterinary hospital yesterday, Tuesday, February 28th. He was born in May along with two other cubs. The other two cubs did not survive either. Back in January 2022, the Deputy Environment Minister said that Iran was home to only a dozen Asiatic cheetahs, down from an estimated 100 in 2010. It's also really important to remember that there are some information that are coming out that are not 100% accurate. I did read some news that Piruz was the last of his kind, which was being spread by major news outlets. But then you see this news, which coming out of Iran says there's a dozen left of them. Either way, they're on the endangered species list. The animals and animal welfare is not taken really seriously. And actually, animal rights and environmental activists are constantly being jailed and currently in Evin. So animal rights activists, I understand that we all can have different causes and there's no cause that's less important. So animal welfare is extremely important as well, especially in Iran where we have so many species that are native to our land. Their protection is really important. So yes, he was just a cheetah cub, but to anyone who doesn't understand, every aspect of our nation is under threat right now, and our animal species are just as important. So the Piruz information is extremely important. So please don't worry. Like, I saw some people being like, I know he's just a cub, and trying to justify sharing it because people are dying. Well, it's all aspects of our nation that's dying. So please, let's make sure that the news is getting out there.
Pharmacists in Iran have been given new hijab rules. What are these new requirements? I actually didn't know about this.
Yeah, so women pharmacists and female pharmacy employees now have to wear a standard black veil. And the new requirements come after reports after female employees at two pharmacies were apparently not following the hijab rules, and they were being filmed by, I guess, regime officials or individuals who are sympathetic to the regime, and that caused the closures of two pharmacies. Now imagine, pharmacists are really a lifeline for so many different communities, and to have that pharmacy closed down, and in a country and in a place where there are so many sanctions and drugs are hard to come by, they're closing down pharmacies because of somebody not respecting the hijab rules. So basically that's in place now, and you have to follow it even if you are a customer. So make sure that you have your hijab on or you're not going to get your medication.
Let's talk about some updates about protesters and detainees.
Yes, I definitely want to get to that. I did see somebody before we leave the news. Real Sophie's World is asking that there is news threatening schoolgirls with showing them violent porn. Is that accurate? I did see some social media influencers share this news. I have been trying to find sources that can confirm it. I have not found sources that can confirm it. So that's why I didn't share it. I did see people sharing it. I don't know what their sources are and I don't know where they came up with it. So that's why I didn't mention it. If anybody has the source, whether it's in Persian or whatever language, please share it with me and I'm happy to look into it. But please know what we share here is not hearsay. It's not random. We actually, fact checked everything. We wouldn't be surprised, but honestly, at this
And I just
point,
want to
I
take a
don't know
moment
if
and
that's an
thank
accurate
everyone
story.
that always writes and comments and asks questions. Please keep on doing it. We can't always address everything, but it really helps us to kind of catch a few questions that we can address, just like Paris joined right now. So go ahead, Paris, and continue, please, with the updates about protesters and detainees.
Yes, the detainee stories and the protesters, some story I really believe we should be highlighting and working on is Gazelle Sharmad. Her and her father, Jamshid Sharmad, I believe Iman Jumi also have direct contact, and we may be able to provide a platform here on Countdown to be able to share this story. But it's a story that's haunting so many of us in the diaspora because it touches us very closely, even though we're not related to this individual. So Jamshid Sharmad is a 67-year-old Iranian-German journalist and a software engineer. You have to remember, he left Iran when he was a child. He's been spending his entire life abroad. He's a German citizen and an American resident. He was visiting Dubai, and Islamic regime agents abducted him while he was in Dubai and brought him to Iran and had a sham trial for him and have now sentenced him to death. That's what's happening. And nothing is being said by the American government, nothing major. The Germans aren't doing anything. And this story, like, I can't imagine, his daughter is advocating for him right now, but so many of us, like, if it can happen to him, I know we hear this, if it can happen to him, it can happen to, but it literally can. We have seen the Islamic regime set up sham trials, and this is happening to this man. So if we could please use his hashtag, if you can, head over to his daughter's account at Free Jamshid Sharmad, please follow her, please share the story. We cannot, the government's not doing anything. It's up to us to share his story. The story of a man who so many of us got out of Iran and now he's been brought back and no one's doing anything for him.
Yeah,
It's absolutely
my heart really
terrifying.
goes out to Giselle. As you mentioned, I've been in example of having direct contact with somebody that is being directly inflicted with this, and like it's almost to the highest degree, because correct me if I'm wrong, but just a week ago he was actually sentenced to death.
Yes.
So right now he is truly in danger of being executed. And like, to be in contact with somebody who is begging the entire world to hear out the story of her father is like, it's just too much, and like, please follow her. There we go. BA Books just put up the Instagram page, Free Jamshid Sharma, and share whatever she's putting out. She's really doing her best to put out as much content about it. Still has a very, very small platform. So you right now can help her reach a lot more people by following her and sharing it. And, I was going to have her on Countdown, but she's deserving of so much more than just 10-15 minutes. So we're kind of coordinating a time. She's going through so much, obviously, that I'm leaving it up to her whenever we can just have a IG Live or however long she wants, whatever we can do on our end, we're going to do it. But it's gut wrenching what she's going through. And it's crazy to believe that this is a German and US citizen, that they keep on saying that he's a dual citizen of Iran national. He left Iran when he was 7 years old. He has not been in the country for 40 plus years. And it's just, I don't know, it's just too much. It's just really too much. And I really hope that all the effort by Giselle will lead to somehow saving her father's life. And it would make me incredibly happy to see her holding her father again.
I completely agree. And one thing I have to mention is that for anyone who's not aware, I'm going to read you the charge. The Revolutionary Court in Tehran has found him guilty of spreading corruption on earth through planning and leading terror operations.
Her father, straight up, is doing exact same thing that I'm doing right now. He did that for many, many years, basically talking about the regime, and that's why they arrested him. Obviously, he probably did it on a bigger platform and a lot more for a lot longer, but it's no different than what we're doing right now. We're talking about the regime. For them, it was too much, and they managed, because they're buddies with UAE, to be able to go and have this type of control, over another person. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Anyways, to stay on schedule, what are the action items this week, Paris? What are the hashtags we're following and should be used?
First up, save Sharmad, Sharmahd. Please, like we said, follow her account, Free Jamshid Sharmad. Follow his daughter's account, essentially, and use the Save Sharmad hashtag. Also, IRGC terrorist. We mention it every week. Tumaj Salehi, hashtag Saman Yassin. Cannot forget them. And of course, Elnaz Mohammadi, Elahi Mohammadi, Nilufar Hamadi, among the reporters who broke the story about Mahsa Amini. And of course, hashtag Mahsa Amini, hashtag Iran Revolution.
Give us a final message for our listeners, please.
A very quick one. Our language in English is called Persian, not Farsi. زبونمون وقتی که انگلیسی حرف میزنیم بعد بگیم ما پرژن حرف میزنیم، جوری که وقتی فارسی حرف میزنیم میگیم ما فارسی حرف میزنیم. شب خوش.
Love it. Paris, خسته نباشید. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I get to our next guest, which is one of our regular contributors, awesome Shahla Nikpour, I want to remind you that no matter how many followers you have the ability to make an impact. I know that all of us are going through a period where we feel so dejected, where we feel like we're not doing enough. You're wrong if you think that, because we can all be doing something. Make sure you do something. Right now, you have an impact to make by following Giselle's page, and everything she says about her father, share it. Every single day, share it to your stories. Please don't think that your account is too small to make an impact. We have to right now, all of us that have all these small, medium-sized accounts, we have to come together and we have to make the loudest noise as possible. So don't be dejected. Just do your part. And if everybody does theirs, it'll be something. Trust me. So up next, ladies and gentlemen, Shahla Nikpour. This is the wonderful licensed clinical social worker that we have. It's one of our uniters that has done so much for our community. I cannot wait to talk to her. We had a great conversation last week, and I'm sure today will be no different. Show some love to Shahla. Shahla June.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to be a little high energy, but I totally understand if things are always so heavy for you. So I'm just trying to kind of balance it out a little bit. Listen, let's just get right into it. You know, you have an update for us about a workshop hosted by Omid Project for Iran. But before we get into that, for any of our viewers who don't know what Omid Project for Iran is, could you please fill our wonderful listeners in?
The Omid Project for Iran is a collective group of mental health therapists, healers that are either Iranian or in the diaspora, also outside of the diaspora. We're coming together to create content, psychological first aid tools that we can give to our viewers. And just collaborating to do bigger and better things. It's a space where we hope you feel validated. It's a space where we hope that you are able just to get some tools. It's not a substitute for therapy, and I just want to remind our viewers of that. We are working towards building a network to get people connected inside Iran and outside of Iran to mental health professionals. So I just want to say that because that's an important disclaimer that it is not a substitute for therapy. We are giving you tools, and we are working towards hopefully having a network of people that can help people that are in crisis. So it's a lot. It's a big undertaking, but we will get there hopefully soon.
All right. And so what is the workshop about and who's it for?
Well, by the grace of some guardian angel, a lovely woman named Dr. Sahibi, who is an associate professor of psychology and the assistant program director for the Family and Marriage Therapy program at Northwestern University, has decided to offer a workshop for non-mental health, people in the community, in the diaspora, to learn about how to do suicide assessments, because there's such a lack of accessibility to mental health in Iran that we can't just rely on mental health providers. So she's offering a workshop, and we're going to be repeating it, to help people that are not mental health providers. They may be nurses, they may be doctors, teachers, whatever, to learn more about how they can do suicide assessments and look out for acute warning signs that someone is at high risk for self-harm or the actual attempt. So she's offering that in April, on April 8th. That will be from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. There will be limited slots. This will be for people that are, and no Paris is going to kill me, but they are Farsi speakers. So she's offering this for, it's going to be English and Farsi speakers. And that is one of the things that she really wanted to emphasize, that we need to get that done as well as an assessment. She's going to great lengths to create tools that people can use. So we're very lucky that she has collaborated with us. There will be another associate professor from another that will be collaborating as well. She wished to be, not named, but we will be doing that and we will be offering it again. So if there's anyone in the community that wants to do it, you should be doing this. You actually should be doing this. And if you're in South Florida, NAMI offers a suicide assessment workshop. We need to be doing this as a community. It can't just be left to mental health providers. We're saturated right now. So we are offering that.
Shout out to Dr. Saibi for doing that and stepping up for the community. That's incredible. Well, before I get to the next part, if anybody's here that either appreciates what Shahla and her team are doing, if they believe that they can connect Shahla with anybody else that could bring some kind of value, please be sure to follow her. Please message her. I have no doubt that no matter how much amazing things Shahla is doing and her team is doing, she could always get some more support. So if you are interested in helping out, if you are just curious, right, Shahla, just like reach out to Shahla and see what that conversation can lead to. You know what I mean? So please do that. But last week we talked about compassion fatigue, but it feels like it's a topic we can continue to talk about, and I really wanted to dedicate more time, but both of us are so crazy busy. How can we continue the conversation, especially during a week like this, where we're hearing about the whole school girls being poisoned, more protests, and also a reminder that our animal population is also suffering?
I mean, I'm going to just speak from the heart. It's been a rough week, and I know Paris was on earlier and very emotional. I'm very activated and triggered by all of this. I have to say something. I'm going to go on a little rant to the Islamic regime, but you've emasculated yourself to the men in this regime. They've emasculated themselves. The cowardice that they have done to poison young women. I mean, you don't need us to emasculate you. You've done it to yourself. I'm sorry. But I just think that it's so activating that they don't even have the balls to do their dirty work. And, this is compassion fatigue. This is anger. This is, having, extreme responses. I mean, rightfully so. It's not like you can have a minimized response to the news of girls being poisoned, animals that are extinct now. And then this video recently of this woman being, her hair being pulled. I mean, we're being inundated with violent images, and I'm sick and tired of it. I'm angry. I'm pissed off. And I mean, this is what compassion fatigue is. I mean, just owning your feelings. You're allowed to have big feelings about it. You're allowed to get it out. Do it safely, obviously. If you, need to break something, but make sure you're not hurting anyone else. Talk to your friends about it if they have the bandwidth. Check in first. If somebody doesn't have the bandwidth, do not take it personally. People are all struggling right now, but I'm pissed. I'm fucking pissed. I'm sorry. Excuse my French, but these men they're not even men, they're sociopaths. And, they've metaphorically emasculated themselves. I think it's disgusting, and I'm tired. This is just, it's just really heart-wrenching. So.
Well, listen, I don't know if you watched earlier or not, but I was like, I'm going to start dedicating an Iman rant at the end of the episodes.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you doing your Shahla rant. And I don't think anybody here watching can blame you for wanting to just kind of vent out. And so if other people want to use this platform to vent out about this, by all means, we can just have a whole separate countdown extra, vent your ass away to do it. Because, I mean, we're beyond angry and pissed and frustrated. And so, your feelings are completely valid and understandable, Shahla June. And all I want to remind you is continue to fight this amazing fight that you're fighting. We're going to continue to get people that are the same mindset as you, so that you become stronger, your team becomes stronger, so you can continue to be the necessary help that our community needs during this incredible time. And our special guest, Yasmine, is going to definitely be talking about mental health too. So it kind of like all ties in. So thank you, Shahla June. So they can contact you via Instagram, anywhere else they can reach out to you and get more information.
You can DM us at the Omid Project of Iran, for Iran, or Phoenix Thriving Therapy. I will get back to people within one business day, but please reach out to us. We are a resource. Don't be afraid, and we are here.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Shahla June, as always, for everything you do. Appreciate you. Don't forget to take care of yourself. And we love you very much. You're an awesome uniter, awesome human being. And see you soon, hopefully.
Okay. Take care, Iman.
Take care. Shahla. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, from Shahla, we're about to go to welcome our special guest of the evening. So grateful for her joining us. Yasmine, for those who don't know, is an Iranian-American artist, filmmaker, actor, and grassroots activist passionate about women's rights, human rights, the environment, and mental health advocacy. In addition to playing the role of Angelica on Hulu's Good Trouble, she's been hosting and facilitating healing workshops and recently organized multiple music and healing events for Iranians in LA to help them deal with the trauma of the revolution. And I know our dear friend Azadeh is here. She was a part of that. We had a lot of great friends collaborating. That was awesome what they did in LA. So if you heard about that healing and music events, our guest Yasmine was one of the main reasons behind it. And Yassi recently appeared on People's Choice Award with Lizzo. Any Lizzo fans out here? Invited to share the spotlight along with 16 other activists at the People's Choice Awards 2022 when Lizzo was awarded the People's Champion Award for her continued work in marginalized communities. I'm not sure if you guys saw that that video where Lizzo came out, and much love to her for how authentic she was and using her platform time to get 16 people like Yasmine to come and share and acknowledge their efforts. So amazing stuff. So I'm going to bring her in, and while I bring her on a recent Instagram post, Yasmine, she posted about her own mental health challenges, which I'll discuss in more detail shortly. But now, help me welcome Yasmine Aker. How are you, Yasmine June?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing?
Great. Pleasure to virtually meet you for the very first time. We've been chit-chatting here, but this is the first one-on-one. Great to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, Yasmine June, you have there's two things that I really would love to virtually chat with you about. One is, why and how you got all involved in being such a massive voice for Iranians, everything you've been doing since really day one, October 1st. And then also the recent Instagram post that you put up, which I'll share an excerpt of it, but I recommend everybody going to her page later on and just reading it. But those are two things that I'd like to kind of talk about. Tell me why, when Mahsa Amini, Jina Amini, when she was murdered, what got you involved? Why did you decide to use your massive platform to be the voice of Iranians?
I'm not sure if others know who I am. I always assume no one knows who I am. You go through life and you're like, oh, no one, I'm just living my little life.
Give a background.
I assume no one knows who I am or what I do.
It's not true. You have a lot of amazing fans and we're so excited to have you here, but perhaps a little background wouldn't hurt. So go ahead.
I've always been very outspoken about women's rights, especially. And it was a moment that shook every single Iranian. I think all of us Iranians, we've been in other countries knowing we can't say anything. Because when we say something, our parents or our uncle or our aunt's like, "Hichi nagu, shh, don't say anything. You're gonna put us in danger. Don't say anything." And we all know. We're all like, yeah, this is corrupt. We all have been witnessing this for years and years, and none of us can say anything, because even if you do, people don't really take it seriously. Like, oh, it was maybe just your family, or maybe this just happened to your aunt. But so this was a really, I hate to use the word opportune, but opportune moment for all of us Iranians to finally show the rest of the world, this is what's going on in Iran. This is what's going on in Iran to women, to the LGBTQ+, to people of minority religions, to people of minority ethnicities. This is not something that's new. This has been going on. And this was a moment where all of us had the privilege and the responsibility to say something. So for me, I've always been outspoken about mandatory hijab long before this revolution. I've made music videos about mandatory hijab. I've done art projects about mandatory religion. And so this wasn't something that I was like, oh, I'm going to start talking about this. It was something that I've always been passionate about, especially women's rights anywhere in the world. And so when this happened in Iran, I had even more responsibility. I felt like واقعاً وظیفه‌مه, because as an Iranian, it's every single one of us. We have to say something. If you stay silent now, I mean that's a huge shame on all of our shoulders if we have been forced into silence.
Absolutely. And you know what, like some people that might know you from either from your acting or just, all the other initiatives that you've done, they might not know that your father was actually in prison in Iran in the 1990s for being a part of, being Baha'i. And, you shared with us how his passport was taken away after his release, and he had to smuggle himself out of Iran in a wooden cargo casket on a boat across the Persian Gulf to Dubai from Iran. How much of your fight for what's happening is really for your father?
A lot of it is for my father. I feel like a lot of it is for my entire family and extended family. It's for my aunt who supposedly committed suicide. It's for my father who was arrested wrongfully. It's for family friends who have all been arrested. It's for people in the community who have been hung or who have spent numerous years in jail. It's for all of the Iranians that have had to endure what the rest of the world would think is fake. They'd be like, no, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. And I think if my father was alive, he would really want everyone in our family to be saying something right now, because he really had a bone to pick with the Islamic Republic my whole life. Ever since he came back in that cargo ship, he had everything to say about the Islamic Republic that was wrong. So it was in our, as children, all of us, I'm sure you as well, that's all you heard. You were like, yeah, this is what they do. This is what they do to people who go to prison. I remember being really, really young and learning that when you go to prison in Iran, you get raped with a Coke bottle. And I remember that really traumatizing me when I was very little. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to, this can't be real. This is not true. Why would an adult tell me this? And now that these accounts are coming out and you're like, oh, this was true. This really was happening. And as a kid, I was like, no. This can't be real. I don't want to hear this.
Well, I have no doubt that your father is incredibly proud of you and all that you've been doing. And all of this that you've been doing, of course, has also had some negative impact on your well-being and your mental health. And you've been so incredibly vulnerable about this and very honest and open about it. And I'll be the first to admit, unfortunately, I did not know you before the revolution. So if you've been doing this for years, I'm upset that I have missed out on incredible words and honesty on your behalf. But this post that you recently had, I want to just kind of share a little excerpt so people have a little background, and then just want to kind of hear from you. And so if you don't mind, I'm just going to quote you on here. And you say, I've been feeling not enough lately. I've been emotionally drained, physically exhausted, and truthfully showing signs of depression, low energy, irritable, not able to get out of bed in the mornings, not able to remember simple things, not feeling joy from activities I used to feel joy from, not interested in physical activity, and feeling helpless and disconnected from my body. The Iranian Revolution has put many Iranians in a state of fight or flight, and I think somewhere in the midst of all the sadness, I went from fight or flight to a disassociated freeze mode and stayed there. First of all, I think everybody that watches this, literally verbatim, feels exactly how you do. Not too many people are able to verbalize it. I'd love to kind of get your perspective on what made you, because this was almost like a thank you to your partner, Prince. Is his first name Prince?
Yeah, it is. It's actually his birth name is Prince, but he goes by William.
Oh,
But
okay, right. So it was a thank you to him for having such a supportive, amazing partner by your side. But obviously, it went deeper than that. So what made you at this moment, 5.5 months into the revolution, share this? And what advice do you have for people to kind of keep on pushing through? Because you are a Shirzan, you're not going to give up. You're owning your feelings. Tell us more all about it.
anyone who's known me from before this revolution, it's not uncommon for me to be very honest on my Instagram. I've been very honest about a lot of things that have happened to me or in my life. And so I've always felt that it's my duty to show my humanity and not just show nice pictures and nice videos of what, show business looks like, but to talk about what's really going on. With my human condition, and which everyone I'm sure can relate to, the human condition. And so it's not uncommon for me to share. And I felt that for the past 5 months, it felt unfair for me not to share because it felt like I was concealing. For me, it felt fraudulent to go and do interviews and to show up at every protest and to speak and to do all of these things and not let people see behind the curtain and not let people see, like, I'm actually really depleted. I'm actually crumpling. I actually get home and cry. And I genuinely just, I don't feel like I have enough. I don't have enough in my reserves. I don't have enough to give my partner. I don't have enough to give my friends. And I've always found that Instagram for me is a safe space to share. I've created kind of a safe container with the people who are on Instagram to just share freely. And I find that when I do share, usually people respond by saying that they feel the same. So it creates an opportunity for myself to connect very deeply and meaningfully, and for others to connect with me so that we create a very real connection. And for me, I think that is important. I think it's also important to hold space for our feelings. So us Iranians were raised from very early on to either be excessively positive and ignore, which I call, and the whole, social media world and the psychology world calls spiritual bypassing. خواست خداست. هیچ فکرش نباش. فکرش نکن. Don't worry. Let's not talk about it. Let's talk positive thoughts. And so I'm a very firm non-bypasser. I refuse to bypass the feelings that come. And I've just been welcoming whatever has been happening, and especially with the things that have come out with the poisonings and the images, and it's too much. It's so much trauma. And it's been making me feel shut down, numb, and just emotionally and physically exhausted, which I'm sure so many of us are experiencing right now. So I thought it would be disingenuous for me not to share that very honest truth that's going on with me, and not to just show this Shirzan woman who's able to keep going, because I'm a human. I can't just,
So tell me, like, what are you doing to kind of like stay positive, to pick yourself up, to make sure that like you remain strong and steadfast? And also, if somebody else is in the same shoes as you right now, what can you tell them to give them uplifting messages based on your own experience?
The $1 million question. I would say give yourself space and permission to feel it. Cry if you need to cry. Scream if you need to scream. Process the emotions that need to go through you, because if you block them, then what you're doing is you're actually blocking that emotion from just moving through you. So allow those emotions to move through you. And then the second component is get the help that you need based on your own resources. If you have a health plan that allows for you to have a therapist to talk to, I have a therapist I talk to, get a therapist to talk to. If you don't have those resources, join a group, join a support group. Make sure you have your support network very strong. Surround yourself. We're like flowers. We grow in good soil. We can't grow out of cement. We can't grow around people who are negative, harmful, toxic, too hard on us. So make sure your surroundings are firm. If you don't have safe people in your surroundings, try to find some safe people, because healing only happens when you feel safe. If you don't feel safe, you can't actually heal. You can't process what's going on. So I would suggest make sure that you have a trusting, beautiful group of friends who you can share with, who can hold space for you. Make sure that your partner is a safe individual. If you happen to be someone who's not in safe relationships, then try to create that safety internally. Try to set boundaries so that you are in much more safer situations and safer relationships. If you're overseas and you happen to not be somewhere where you can even feel safe in your immediate environment, try to create some time in your day where you disconnect from the things that are unsafe and you disconnect from the things that are traumatic. One of the wisdoms that I learned very early on is that just like we eat food, what you ingest becomes part of your physical health.
Right.
What you ingest with your eyes and your ears becomes part of your mental health. And so very early on during the revolution, people who are close to me will vouch. I refuse to look at any of the videos that have blood, have harm, and are too violent. I'll see it, I'll pass by it, I know it's happening. I see something very traumatic, I try not to look. I don't dive deep to see the intense trauma, because that leaves an imprint on you, and then it can traumatize you. And for myself, because I'm a very sensitive soul, I have a lot of sensitivities. I make sure that I don't ingest things that I shouldn't be seeing and hearing, that I know are going to create harm. And very early on, like I think after the first month or the second month of this revolution, I told my friends, don't send me anything violent. I will refuse to look at it. And if I see it, I acknowledge that it's happening, and I do my best to create positive change, but I won't throw myself into the world of having to force myself to see things that I can never unsee. Like if I see someone being shot at point blank, I can never unsee that. My subconscious can never unsee that. And there's a little person inside of me. There's a little 5-year-old version of Yossi who sees everything. And I need to make sure that I keep her safe. Like one of my rules is I need to keep me safe. If I can keep me safe and I can make sure that I feel okay, then I can help the people around me. But no one can pour from an empty cup. If your cup is empty, which right now for me, it feels like my cup is empty, you need to fill your own cup so that you can go pour for other people.
So basically, you watch CNN every morning to get energized. I'm just joking. Yes, I mean, these are all beautiful words that I think all of us can take to heart and really learn from, and focus on ourselves. And the recommendations that you're making about the soil part. We all need all better soil around us so we can flourish to the best version of ourselves, which will then make us a beautiful garden, which is a community. And like one thing for me is just community, and I can tell you have an incredible community around you that you're able to be so vulnerable, and I'm so fortunate that I stumbled upon your community as a result of the revolution. And as an Iranian, I'm grateful that you're using your big platform that reaches especially non-Iranians for the good, because we need more people that are able to amplify the voices of Iranians to non-Iranians. All of us Iranians, we know it, we hear it. There's still so many people that are completely oblivious to what's happening. So thank you so much for using your platform for being all the good that we need in this world. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it.
And
Thank
I
you, Iman.
can't wait. And I talked to, Azadeh was our guest a couple weeks ago, and I know you guys did the music and healing event. Like, if I can get the time and the resources together to get you guys both to Miami and we do a music and healing event in South Beach, you know, do sunrise yoga and just heal the South Florida community, because we are so depleted down in South Florida. I mean, we have about 40, 50 uniters that have been spending so much of their time, effort in the last 5 months, protests, all these different awareness things, and we're just exhausted, and we need like amazing ladies like you all to kind of come and just inject some of this beautiful soil that I know you guys can create. So I'm going to make that happen hopefully soon.
That would be very beautiful. Hopefully we can do that. I know I would love to. I'm not going to speak for Azadeh, but I think I can speak for Azadeh. I think she'd be down.
Yeah, we'll put her on a little hold, you know. Miami is not that place of a bad place, you know. And
there are amazing musicians and healers and
I know
people who are just waiting to be able to serve their community. So I know that there's going to be no shortage of people who would want to come together for a music and healing event in Miami. We would love to be part of that. And
for sure. And Orly, my ghost host, just said, or we can come to LA. So maybe I got to make Cali happen too. So maybe it'll be easier. But Miami is always a good idea too, you know. So, but Yasmine, on behalf of all Iranians, thank you so much for all that you do. Appreciate you. It was great getting to know you even more. Much love, and anything that we can ever do to support you and your mission even more, just know that you have the entire Uniters family at your service here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was lovely chatting with you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for making time. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. What an awesome pleasure to get to know the amazing Yasmine Aker better. That was wonderful. Appreciate everybody joining in all the comments. It seems like you guys enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. And as I mentioned earlier on in the program, I want to add this little Iman rant / Delampore segment. So I'm going to spend a few minutes pretty much just complaining, if you don't mind. But before I start complaining, thank you to Paris. Thank you to Shahla June. Thank you to Yasmine. Paris June, thank you so much for producing tonight's episode. As always, you take so much of the pressure off of me by being so diligent. Thank you so much. The Delampore comes from the Iranian community. Oh man, and this is not South Florida anymore. This is just Iranian community. I think some of you, not you because you guys are watching, so I can't even speak directly to you, but perhaps you can help me amplify this to other people. We have some Iranians that have given up. And honestly, like right now is not a time to give up. If anything, right now is a time for us to give us 120% even more than what we've been doing. It's so easy to give up, guys. It's so easy to just say we're deflated. I say it all the time, but we can't actually act on it. You know what I mean? Like we cannot actually say, "Khasta shodim," nobody cares. What we have to do is figure out how we get people galvanized. Because all of us that have been active, because if you're watching this, you're the active one. So when I'm talking to you, I'm not actually speaking to you because I'm grateful for you watching. And I'm sure you've been busting your ass trying to do whatever you can for our people. But man, we cannot give up. We are the only soldiers remaining. Do you know what I mean? And so we need to continue to strategize. We need to brainstorm. We need to figure out how to galvanize. We need to figure out how to make a louder platform. You know, like I was telling our team earlier today, is that there are so many people that are content creators that are using their just regular people using their platform to amplify the voice of Iranians, right? But they all have small accounts. I have small accounts. Put all the top 100 accounts that you're following right now. All of them are like small to medium accounts. Imagine if they had a boost where all of a sudden they're 10 times, 50 times, 100 times bigger. Imagine how much louder do we get. We have to support our content creators that are spending day and night spreading news and awareness about Iran. Go find your favorite creator, message them, and say, hey, listen, I appreciate all that you're doing. How can I help? Very simple. Just start with how can I help? And they'll tell you how you can help. How you can help us at Unite and Conquer, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow our Let's Unite and Conquer Instagram page. You can message us and see maybe like there's ways that you can help produce more countdown programs. Maybe you can become an editor. Maybe you can become a graphic designer and you can create some stuff. There's stuff that you can do. You can write the description for our YouTube videos. You can take show notes for this program right now, so that when we put this episode on YouTube, there's some nice YouTube show notes on there. You know, there's so much stuff that we can do that makes creators like us much stronger. And so I'm suggesting, like I have been since day one, is that we need to create more digital content. The online, the in-person protests, especially in smaller cities like Miami, okay, 500 people show up. Okay, 1,000 people show up. It's still a drop in the bucket. But when we create content that reaches millions of people, do you see the difference? So for me, it's like, how can we figure out how to have conversations like this, instead of having 30, 40 viewers at one time, have 3,000 to 4,000 viewers, not just for me, but also because of every creator. Every creator is having the same exact challenge. I can name about 10. First of all, Azadeh Afsahi, incredible therapist, doing incredible stuff. Can you please tell me why she only has 15,000 followers? Can you please tell me why Montre only has like 5,000 followers? This is not about followers, whatever. This is about impact. We're trying to make impact, right? And then compared to like all the Iranian artists that we have that have hundreds of thousands of followers, all the people that we have that have millions of followers, they're doing jack shit. I have observed, and if you don't agree, please just go and look at the numbers. 90% of the work is being done by the smallest accounts. So if the big accounts have decided to be inactive because for them it's not important, because they think it's now time to go have freaking DJ parties and go have concerts, I cannot change their mind. They have decided they don't care. They have decided that right now is a time to throw parties, that right now is a time to throw concerts. But okay, you want to do that? No problem. I won't even get into the argument. But there's so many people that are just trying to do their best to get their content out to bring awareness. So please, find your favorite creators and just ask them how you can help them out. Because watching is great, but you got to share it and you got to do some other stuff. And every content creator is different. So I don't really, I can't speak on behalf of that, but we all need help. And right now, Orly Jun is saying big accounts don't give a shit. I mean, like, I personally, as an entertainer, first of all, I have an entertainment company, and for 5 months, I have not posted anything about my entertainment company. And as a result, my entertainment company has been hit hard. But I cannot get myself in good conscience to actually post videos of my parties, of our weddings, of our DJs. Kichibesha. I just can't do it, you know? We're about to do the Charshamba Suri event next Friday. I can't even get myself to post it, but I'm trying to justify it that it's Charshamba Suri, and we're trying to do it to preserve our culture. So we're going to start going hard in the next day or two. But club parties, concerts, I don't get it. I don't get it, but that argument is not something I want to get into right now. But all I'm saying is that my Dilan Porter right now is that we need to instill as much hope and positivity and support for the ones that are doing all this work right now. So reach out to them and just ask them, how can I help? And let's see how it goes. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure. We're reaching the end of the program. It's been a full hour. Always a pleasure. Hopefully next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, you join us again. Much love. And don't forget, be Omid Project. Shab Khair.